Professor Anton, I'd like to comment on this issue. Yeah, it's very interesting. The way I see it is when people are very responsive to electronic medium, what is going on is basically they're acting as a node in a hive mind. These electronic media are so fast. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, sometimes, then that means you could if you send a picture in 1 second, that you can send 1,000 words per second, and that basically rivals neural speeds. Okay, now it's discrete, but of course there's also streaming medium. Now it's interesting, uh, media. It's interesting underneath that those are always discrete, kind of like quantum physics, but they can be streaming. But it's this instantaneous connection really extends what the kind of connection you would only expect from the mind, one part of the mind to another part of the mind, to other people all over the globe. Now, as an individualist, I agree. You should cut off from that network. You should manage that. But it is interesting. Not necessarily in the morning. I mean, that's a particular. Maybe it's in a particular time of year, or on a vacation, or one day of the week, or it's in the evening, not the morning. I can see why some people want to wake up and do the mindless, triggering from a medium because maybe that's what their metabolism needs in the morning. But I also find it interesting you talked about going and reading books, because that's basically just the previous form of this hive mind. It's just slower because you don't really get it at neural speeds. But sometimes someone can write in 7 sentences what someone else would take 7/10ths of a book to write, and so you actually might still get flooded, because that's the thing. Our communication connection can flood us on input. It can give us more information than we can process. And when you slow that down, then you can make sure that you as an individual have enough time to think, and you aren't just being overwhelmed with intellectual stimuli. But even in a book, when that does happen on the input, the output isn't so immediate. So you can kind of take your time and deal with it over time, so that the overall connection is regulated. Many people are not going to regulate their connection. They would just assume that their intellectual life be turned over to a sort of a hive network mind. And I think that there are some advantages in our social structure and the scale that it's achieved to this sort of behavior that evolution's probably selected for. But it's not the only kind, and it's also kind of uh, a specialized sort of role that does require others to experience more primary experiences. But reading a book isn't really more primary; it's just slower, so you can handle this connection. Um, the walking the dog example, watching the sunrise, those are examples of the primary experiences that are the kind uh, that you describe, that you really need to seek out to pace your own life. You could use a microwave and still pace your life, but if you pace your life around food habits, preparing food, then that's really why it interferes. Not because it's so fast, but because you don't have anything else to pace your life. You could make the food faster and pace your life on something else. But anyway, that's how I see it. Cheers.